What's the dumbest myth people today believe? 1. Lie detectors as a literal thing. There's a reason they aren't admissible as evidence in court in most places. So are they basically anxiety measurers? I get really anxious if I get accused of something, but only if I didn't do it. Took one for a job, never did any drugs a day in my life, was super nervous because I really wanted the job, was off the charts on the drug questions according to the proctor, and that's how I found out they don't work, lol. 2. There are dumber ones out there, but the one I, as an estate lawyer, deal with constantly is the idea that there needs to be a reading of the will, where the family all gather, and the lawyer reads it aloud to them for the first time. We don't do that, we just mail everyone their own copy if they want it. It's a really stubbornly persistent one because people continue to see scenes of it in movies and TV shows, where it's used for some big dramatic reveal. I've even had irate beneficiaries insist that the administration of the estate can't be official until there's a reading. Way back, like 150 years ago or so, I believe we used to do something like that at times because you couldn't exactly presume literacy on the part of the beneficiaries, but now we feel it's a pretty safe bet that you can either read it or find someone who can. 3. If you drop a penny off a skyscraper, it will eventually fall fast enough to puncture someone's skull. By that logic, raindrops would hurt like a bleep or straight up kill you, not to mention hail. I've met people who think terminal velocity is the speed at which point an object can kill you. 4. Black belts have to register their fists as weapons. I can't believe I was dumb enough to fall for that. If you walk around with your hands in your pockets, do they become concealed weapons? I had an ex tell me that. She had papers and everything. 5. That humans only use 10% of their brain. This is false, regardless of how those who proclaim this myth seemingly demonstrate that it is in fact true. I had a health teacher in school who told us once it's probably okay to actually drink during pregnancy, because chances are the brain damage will happen to the 90% of the brain humans don't use, so it won't have any effect on the baby. He proved this by talking about some woman he knew who drank during pregnancy, and one of her sons is a student in the gifted program, and the other one is an idiot. The gifted student got lucky and got brain damage to the unused 90%. Just WTF. You don't become a health teacher by studying medicine now. 6. It is believed in Indian culture that keeping your unibrow means good luck. I kept my unibrow for 20 years thinking it is my good luck, until I got stage 5 of kidney failure, and I did my eyebrows after that because who gives a bleep about luck anymore? Now my eyebrows look cute AF. Indian culture. And I think most old cultures, to be honest, have this thing where they take something that is usually seen as a negative in society and try to spin it as a good luck or fortune thing to make everyone accept it. Like massive foreheads mean intelligence. I can't think of others now, but there are plenty. I guess back in the day it helped those that would otherwise be ostracized or bullied get accepted. The Greeks thought having a big forehead meant you had a big mind. They called Plato Plato because Platus means broad, and he had broad shoulders, a broad forehead, and a broad mind. I don't think they thought big foreheads were ugly. 7. That you eat spiders in your sleep. Spiders will not knowingly walk into a predator's mouth. They can sense both the heartbeat, heat, and noise from humans, all things that would alert them not to go into our mouth. I kinda need this to be true. I blame my weight on the copious amounts of spiders I'm ingesting every night. 8. You have to wait 48 hours to report someone missing. This one's downright harmful. I told my girlfriend this last week. For some strange reason she still believed the myth, then painstakingly went through all of the steps that I would go through if I thought she was missing. All those steps would happen in far less than 12 hours of her not checking back in. It used to be a thing though. Most police departments made you wait 24 hours before filing a missing person report back in the days before cell phones. Back then, it was common to not be reachable for a few hours. Now if someone isn't responding immediately when you know they should, it probably means something has gone terribly wrong. Police departments today let you file missing person reports immediately. 9. When I had cancer a few years back and was doing chemotherapy, I had people who constantly questioned that I actually had cancer due to the fact that my hair didn't fall out until I was actually in remission. Had been off chemo for about 2 to 3 weeks when my hair started gradually thinning and falling out. People don't understand that chemo isn't one drug. It's dozens of different drugs in different combinations and dosage schedules. so you might anticipate people respond to it differently. It's a complete myth that every single person's hair will have the same reaction to chemo. Some people lose hair right away, some don't. Everybody is different. There were people who accused my wife of lying about her lymphoma because she didn't look sick. My late mother-in-law didn't look sick. She went in because she had leg pain and the doctors did some scans to check for blood clots and found tumors just all over the place. They looked higher and it was just everywhere. She only lived for 12 more days and right up till that no one even knew she was sick, herself included. 10. Headlights off at night is a gangbanger initiation rite, so don't flash your lights at them. I read this as people driving around looking for gangbangs. Well, how else are you supposed to find one? I remember when this hit the news back in the 90s, they ran stories about not flashing oncoming cars or you may be shot. This phenomenon now has a name, top-tier trolling. We'll never find out who started that rumor, but I'm sure they're still laughing to this very day. 11. At some point, a viral video allegedly proved that the beg buttons at crosswalks are just placebos. Some of them are, but most of them really do add a cycle for pedestrians to get a walk signal. You should use them regardless. In NYC they are placebos. The lights are either controlled by simple timing logic or by dot to limit traffic congestion. Out in the suburbs, they actually work. There are a few lights around where I live that will not turn green unless there is a vehicle present. They use a sensor to detect when a vehicle is waiting. My motorcycle does not trigger the sensor, so I hop off and press the crosswalk button and hop back on. It triggers a green light. They use a sensor to detect when a vehicle is waiting. If anyone is curious as to what these are, they're called induction loops. They're metal loops that they embed into the asphalt and use passive conductance as the sensor. We used to run into issues a lot when biking in Pittsburgh. We'd have to politely ask cars to pull ahead of us at a stoplight in order to trigger a green. 12. That magnetic jewelry/healing will cure just about anything. A dude named Mesmer in 1780 came up with the idea, and it has been debunked many times, yet it's still a billion-dollar industry. Fun fact, the word mesmerized is related to him. I've got to constantly tell people that my cool magnetic bracelet isn't for healing or anything. I'm a seamstress and it holds my pins, but that always gets forgotten about because, did you know those can align your spiritual energies? Like, aligning my pins and needles isn't cool enough. See also homeopathy. Something debunked 100 years ago but still persists. It's the idea that 1. Water molecules carry the memory of things they touch, and 2. You can be cured of any health ailment by being exposed to what made you sick. So they are like some bacteria or viruses. Mix it in water, dilute it like 1,000 times until you're left with just water. Then give you the water as medicine and say you're cured. It goes against everything we know about chemistry and biology. 13. Detox drinks used to work somewhere that sold juice cleanses. 1. Your body does not need something to cleanse its liver and kidneys like that. Your liver and kidneys are the cleansers. If anything, you're just giving them a break by laying off alcohol in cheeseburgers. 2. You only feel better cause for a couple days you're actually getting some vitamins into your system for once and aren't eating steaming piles of bleep at every meal. It's not the presence of the juice, it's the absence of the other bleep. 3. The fruit juices portion is just sugary and tasty. Of course they feel good. 14. There are still people who believe that having sex in certain positions or eating certain foods can influence the sex of your unborn child or impact whether you have twins/multiples. Look, if The Sims has taught me anything, it's that carrots and alt music get you a boy, strawberries and pop music gets you a girl. Pregnancy lasts 3 days, labor takes hours, and babies spawn their own bassinets. I had a friend who thought if you didn't have sex or masturbate for a while, then it increased your chances of having twins/triplets. It's been 4 weeks of building up pressure. Now my sperm is going to come out with such force that it will shatter that egg. 15. Had a cab driver insisting that the reactor meltdown at Fukushima was a failed Chinese attack on the U.S. The plan was to superheat the rods so they'd burn into the ground, through the center of the Earth, and come out in America and irradiate it. There's a lot to unpack in that, but the one that stands out is if it sinks to the center of the Earth, how the hell is it going to sink upward again? By the time it gets to the middle, it has enough momentum to keep it going. Duh. 16. Many people still believe hymens are like plastic food seals that cover up the hole and get popped when you have sex for the first time. And if a girl doesn't bleed, she's not a virgin. Yep, it's a dumb one. It's just a thin piece of tissue. It can tear from things that aren't sex, and can heal as well, and some women just never had one. So you can have a woman who's a virgin whose hymen has been torn, and a woman who's taken a break from having almost daily sex whose hymen is entirely intact. It also should have a hole in it anyway. It doesn't necessarily tear as much as it stretches. Semi-related fun fact, the vagina can completely grow shut. It happens in young infants when the skin of the labia is damaged, which isn't difficult seeing how thin and fragile the skin there is. Had a friend whose daughter was born like that. It opened back up when she grew up. My kid had it grow shut after a diaper rash. My GP had never seen it before, so I had to explain it to her. He got referred to a pediatrician. We opted not to wait it out, so we got a topical eczema cream which has skin thinning as a side effect. Put it on until the skin was open again, then Vaseline on it to prevent it from growing shut again. Vulvas are weird. 17. Piggybacking on the vagina topic, the myth that multiple partners will make a vagina loose. Here's what actually happens. The vagina tenses up during arousal to create more room for a penis, sort of like a reverse erection. Being nervous can inhibit that process. Unless there is a medical condition like vaginismus present, experienced women have an easier time relaxing enough to make penetration possible, getting wet and tenting up, and who knows, even having fun with it. You're not supposed to cram it in there when she's not warmed up and emphasize it with, "You're so tight, baby." 18. Oh, I don't want to raise/make more money, because then I'll lose more money to taxes and take home less. You only get taxed on the money that's made above your current bracket. It's literally impossible to make more money and take home less. 19. Halloween candy is commonly laced with drugs or razor blades. No one, and I mean no one, is giving their drugs to your 8-year-old for free. Those damn DARE officers lied to me. The only evidence of this actually happening is a parent trying to poison their own child. So as long as you aren't the one poisoning your kid, there's probably nothing to worry about. 20. I still believe that if any of my limbs hang off the bed while sleeping, that a monster will grab them. I also believe that the moment I remember this and pull them back on the bed is just in the nick of time before a monster grabs them. You can't prove there isn't a monster under my bed. I think you've misinterpreted the op. What you listed is just a fact. I tested this several times after I stopped running up the basement stairs before the monsters got me. Quite frankly, if I do have monsters, those bleep out me rent. I also want all my missing socks back, but I still haven't caught any yet. 21. Had to explain to a grown bleep adult that blood isn't blue inside the body and red once it hits oxygen, because blood already carries oxygen. Red blood is iron-based, blue blood is copper-based. Offhand, the only organism I can think of with blue blood is a horseshoe crab. Octopus blood is blue too. 22. Anything about MSG. I battle with my health-conscious wife about this often. Edit. Too much of anything is bad for you. I still don't understand the demonization of MSG. It's only because of the chemical-derived name. Everything is a damn chemical. She probably has no issue sprinkling sodium chloride all over her food, but is afraid of monosodium glutamate. They're just two different salts. MSG, make bleep good. I'm almost out of my bottle of accent. MSG is amazing, and its bad rap is all due to some racist bleep from the 80s and 60s. Almost nobody has any real reaction to it, and most of the ones who say they do just think they do. It naturally occurs in all kinds of foods most people eat regularly. It's funny that it became associated with Chinese food, when it's basically a cornerstone of most Italian-American dishes as well. 23. That if you touch a baby bird, its mother will abandon it because of the smell. Birds actually have a very crappy sense of smell. Edit. Yes, I realize there are exceptions such as vultures that do have a good sense of smell. But in general, smelling a human on their baby won't make them abandon them, as far as I am aware. The reason you shouldn't touch or take away a baby bird is because more likely than not, the parent bird is around and aware of the situation, and you will scare them away. 24. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. Yes, it does. That's the entire reason for lightning rods on buildings. 25. That there are magic pills that make you lose weight and gain muscle without ever going to a gym. Or that there are snake oils that will take years off of your face and make you look young. There's a sucker born every minute. Let's not forget male enhancement. 26. Still blows my mind that people think the Earth is flat. Honestly, what reason would world governments have to hide the shape of the Earth? What I find crazy about this is, have they never thought of the sheer scale of this? Like, every government, including the ones who hate each other, would be in on it. Everyone who pilots a plane or ship would be in on it. Everyone who is involved in any space program around the world, anyone involved with GPS/satellites/mapping would be in on it. Meteorologists would be in on it. Basically, hundreds of thousands of people would know and utterly dedicated to keeping this secret. Except there's really no logical reason to lie. No one would gain a thing from convincing people the world is round if it wasn't actually round. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments where you'd like to walk next.